Welcome to the Backyard Professor live stream. This is Sunday, July 13th. Halfway through July already. That is close to illegal. I've got something I want to say, and I want to say it loud and clear. I love how fast Amazon delivers books. Just Friday, I ordered 4 books on remote viewing, and I got 2 of them already. The one by Daz Smith, Controlled Remote Viewing. That'll be fun to look through. And this one, which I've already started to read, Remote Viewing Secrets, a handbook by Joseph McMoneagle. And I am excited. I've got 2 more coming that I'm going to be very interested in reading and trying to practice the techniques. So we shall see. Remote viewing coming up. Now, I'm going to tell you about this straight out tonight. There's no way to exhaust crop circles. There is vastly more information. There is vastly more guesswork, interpretation, speculation with crop circles than almost any other subject I've seen except UFOs. But the cool thing is crop circles and UFOs go together. This is a beautiful subject. It is an exquisitely difficult subject. It is a very crazy subject that has its critics, as most subjects do. But this one, for real, is a Lulu. I'm going to stop this screen right now and go back to go get my next one, because there is some of the most amazing materials here that I have ever seen. First, let's hear from our friend right here. Nope, that's not it. Doggone it. I was hoping I wasn't going to do it this way. Hey, I swear. I'm gonna swear. Come on. I had this in order, I promise. There we go. Here we go. All right, here we go. This is the Armored Skeptic. Let's take a listen for 1 minute to the Armored Skeptic and his important note on crop circles.
I hate crop circles. Crop circles make me angry. It frustrates me to see people celebrate crop circles and treat them like some sort of a miracle from the stars. Crop circles represent the most evil people on this planet. I finally understood this while reading a book celebrating crop circles. And when I finally realized what I had in my hand, it made me feel sick. I literally had to throw the book away.
So there, take that. I would suggest a psychological adjustment for this young man. I'm not quite sure, though. They say the same thing about me, right? So there is that. But I had to get that out there because there are some people who just really don't like this subject. And my suspicion is because they can't refute it to the point to where nobody believes in them. And I'm going to be quite frank with you. I have really never looked deeply into crop circles until a few months ago. And what I'm finding is blowing my ever-living mind. This is just outrageous. And so let's keep going. I've got some more stuff to share with you that is going to blow your minds. And I'm not even exaggerating. This is astonishing stuff. All right. Let me look here. Where is it? All right, here we go. All right, now this is from Patrick from Vetted, and I want to share what I consider to be one of the most interesting overviews of crop circles, because he does acknowledge crop circles, studiers, what it is, and the critics.
Crop circles, those enigmatic patterns of flattened crops that appear seemingly overnight in fields across the globe, have long captivated the imagination of believers, skeptics, and curious minds alike. These intricate designs, ranging from simple circles to elaborate fractals, spirals, and even pictograms, have sparked intense debate, particularly around the idea that some may be created by unidentified flying objects, or UFOs, as messages or markers from extraterrestrial beings. For a phenomenon that blends mystery, science, and folklore, the UFO connection remains one of the most intriguing and polarizing aspects of crop circles. The phenomenon gained prominence in the late 1970s and 1980s, particularly in Wiltshire, England, which became a hotspot for these formations. Fields of wheat, barley, and corn would suddenly bear massive, precise designs, some spanning hundreds of feet, that appeared too complex and rapid to be the work of humans, at least to some observers. Eyewitnesses occasionally reported seeing strange lights, glowing orbs, or even disc-shaped objects hovering near fields where crop circles later appeared. These accounts fueled speculation that UFOs were responsible, perhaps using advanced technology to manipulate crops with pinpoint accuracy. For believers, the sheer scale and geometric sophistication of certain formations, like the 1996 Juliusette fractal near Stonehenge, or the 2001 Milk Hill Galaxy design with over 400 circles, pointed to an intelligence beyond human capability. Some researchers have attempted to provide scientific backing for the extraterrestrial hypothesis. Biophysicist W.C. Levengood, for instance, conducted studies in the 1990s and early 2000s, analyzing plant samples from crop circles. He claimed to find anomalies, such as elongated plant nodes, expulsion cavities, and microscopic iron particles, suggesting exposure to intense electromagnetic or microwave energy, not easily replicable by humans. Other investigators reported unusual electromagnetic readings or even radiation spikes in some formations, further stoking the idea of otherworldly technology at play. Proponents argue that these physical traces, combined with the speed of creation, often in a single night, make human involvement unlikely in at least some cases. However, the UFO theory faces significant skepticism. In 1991, two British men, Doug Bauer and Dave Chorley, famously admitted to creating hundreds of crop circles as a prank, using simple tools like wooden planks, ropes, and a baseball cap with a wire loop for sighting lines. Their confession inspired other circle makers, and by the 2000s, organized groups were openly crafting elaborate designs as art or performance. Skeptics point out that no crop circle has ever been definitively linked to a UFO, and many formations show clear signs of human construction, like broken stalks or uneven patterns. Even Levengood's findings have been criticized for lacking peer-reviewed validation or for being explainable by natural processes. Despite the lack of concrete evidence, the UFO crop circle connection persists in popular culture and among enthusiasts. Books, documentaries, and websites continue to explore the idea that these formations are cosmic messages, perhaps encoded with mathematical or astronomical significance. For example, some circles align with ley lines or ancient sites, prompting speculation about extraterrestrial interest in Earth's energy grid. Others interpret the designs as warnings about environmental crises or as attempts to communicate universal truths through sacred geometry. The debate over crop circles created by UFOs ultimately reflects a broader human fascination with the unknown. Are they hoaxes, natural phenomena, or evidence of alien contact? Without irrefutable proof, like clear footage of a UFO crafting a circle or an artifact left behind, the question remains open.
All right. Now, the good news is, the interesting thing is, Patrick said without an actual video of the aliens showing the creation of a crop circle, we don't have definitive proof. I've got a video I'll show you tonight showing just that. This is going to just, it is so fascinating to see the mathematics, the potential speculations about what the crop circle messages are and the linking to the cosmos, absolutely incredible. And I've got a lot of material to go through tonight. Tonight, we're going to try to do a deep dive. Let me go to the next part of Patrick's idea here. I get to fumble around a little bit tonight with some of these because I'm not using all of their information, but I am using some of it. And I am going to share a lot of clips from a lot of folks tonight because I want you to see the variety. There is a huge amount of variety on these. Let's look at this one. For instance, this is a unique look at the history of crop circles. And I will be getting to the why files a little later tonight. But for now, I like this summation.
Formations seem like a new phenomenon. There's evidence they've been appearing for a long time. In the 9th century, Abelard, the Bishop of Lyon in France, wrote about parishioners who were possibly engaged in devil worship or paganism. They were collecting seeds out of flattened circles in the fields and using them for fertility rituals. In 1686, Robert Plot, a professor at Oxford, wrote about crop circles. He even drew pictures of a couple that appeared near his home. He said they were formed by a flash of light. And once they were formed, animals wouldn't go near them. Around the same time, a pamphlet was released called The Mowing Devil. It describes how a farmer woke to see a bright light in his field that he thought was fire. When he went to investigate, he found a crop circle. It's called The Mowing Devil because the farmer said the circle was so neatly mowed that it could not have been done by a mortal man. John Leland served as librarian to Henry VIII. He wrote about patterns appearing in grass overnight. In 1937, a British science journal reported circles found in a field of barley and even included one of the first photos taken of a crop circle. In 1945, this photo was taken by a balloonist working for the RAF Parachute Training School. In 1952, the U.S. Air Force investigated circles found in Kansas.
So that gives you a very interesting look at how far back crop circles were talked about and people were experiencing them. Now, the one thing we need to keep in mind with all of this crop circle business is it's not just located in one specific spot nor one specific country. There are crop circles occurring all over the world, not only earlier, but right now today. And that was kind of a surprise to me that they are still occurring today. But Casper site just recently visited one back in May, a tremendously interesting video. And I've got some information from Casper site on various ways that these crop circles can legitimately be trying to communicate with us. Now, I'm going to, this next series of clips is from the Why Files. This is one of the great videos on crop circles. Him and Casper site and lots of different people have been investigating the crop circles. I'm going to pick on those two tonight simply because they are so much fun and they are so fascinating and well done. And I learned more from these two gentlemen in the last few weeks pursuing this than I have most anybody else. It's astonishing what we really see here. Let's take a look at this. Hold on, and I will turn it on for you. Oh, it is on. Good deal. All right, let's take a look at this. This first one.
Since the 1960s, thousands of crop circles or crop formations have been found. They've been seen on every continent in almost every country on Earth. But the epicenter for crop formations is Wiltshire in the southwest of England. Crop formations range from the very simple to the very complex. Formations can be circles, stars, and other geometric shapes, but some are pictograms, though nobody knows for sure what they mean. Though every formation is different, they have a few things in common. Recognizable patterns that are created very quickly, usually at night. The creation of these patterns is always associated with some kind of light, either a beam of light or an orb of light.
And that is a very important point that we are not going to ignore, because we do have a video of an orb creating crop circles. And I will show that to you tonight. In other words, crop circles are not a rarity. There are apparently thousands and thousands and thousands of them. No two of them are alike. And some of them are somewhat simple. Some of them are astonishingly gigantic, as well as extremely complex. Some of them spoke to us in English. And I know you're going, yeah, whatever. I'll show you the evidence. It just blows my mind that this is so good. Some of them show us advanced mathematics. We just have to learn how to decipher the code, the symbol. And so this is so exquisitely interesting how this works. Let me get to this next part of the clip, and I will show you just what I mean. Oh, and then it keeps jumping. All right, I'll start right here. It starts in about 10 seconds.
There was evidence of spiral flattening, and in one case there was a circular area in the center in which the wheat had not been flattened.
One of the texts discovered in the Dead Sea Scrolls is the Book of Enoch. Enoch talks about lightning leaving marks on the earth. So these formations have been seen since the beginning of recorded history. Even though thousands of circles have been found and many people claim to witness them forming, no one had ever caught it on camera until 1996. John Whaley was camping out on a hill in Wiltshire called Oliver's Castle, named for a fort that was built there many years ago. Around 3 a.m., something caught his eye. He grabbed his video camera and captured footage of several glowing orbs hovering over a field. Then, like magic, whoa! Here's the formation from the air. Nobody can agree on what.
Look, I don't care who you are. That is incredible. That is incredible. Now, it appeared almost all at once as those orbs were flying over the field. He explains later on how that is entirely possible if you have a certain kind of technology. And the astonishing thing is, so many of the crop circles show us the power that these craft are using to create the crop circles. And it's once you recognize what the crop circles are saying, it almost becomes so obvious that it's embarrassing no one else has ever thought of this. But this is a very well done analysis by the Why Files. Let's keep going.
In 1974, the Arecibo message was sent from Earth to a cluster of stars in the Hercules constellation. It's called the Arecibo message because that was the name of the giant radio telescope used to transmit it. The team that created the message was led by Dr. Frank Drake, with assistance from Carl Sagan. The message was 1,679 binary digits that could be converted to an image, designed to convey information about civilization on Earth. It starts with a representation of the numbers 1 through 10. This provides a key to the rest of the message. Next, atomic numbers of hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and phosphorus, which are used to make up DNA. Carbon is at the top because it's the most dominant in forms of life. The message shows more information about DNA, including the double helix structure. Toward the bottom, a figure of a human, its average height, and the population of the Earth, which was a little over 4 billion at the time. Next, our solar system, starting with the sun and moving out to Pluto. The Earth is shifted up to identify the planet sending the signal. At the bottom, a graphic representing the Arecibo radio telescope. Now, the nearest star that could possibly receive the message is 25,000 light years away, so we couldn't really expect a reply for another 50,000 years. But on the morning of August 14th, 2001, a formation was discovered right next to the Chilbolton radio telescope. Now, even if you don't know the full design, when you're on the ground, you can tell you're in a crop circle. There's structure and uniformity to it. But this new formation was different. It was a mess. It wasn't symmetrical. Nobody could make sense of it until it was viewed from the air.
Holy
A face. And 3 days later, this appeared. This became known as the Arecibo Answer.
Ay, Chihuahua!
The formation uses the same 23 by 73 grid. The top line shows the numbers 1 through 10, just like the original, but the reply shows silicon as the main element for life, not carbon. Their DNA is shown as having a third string. In the center is a humanoid figure about 4 feet tall with a large head, and their population is about 21 billion. Below the figure is their solar system. They appear to occupy 3 objects in the system, the 3rd and 4th planets, and then there's another shape that could mean a planet or some other object or structure. On the human Arecibo message is a picture of the radio telescope, which was used to send the message. Whoever sent the reply seems to understand this. So what is this design meant to represent? Well, just a year earlier, this formation appeared in the same place. Is this the same object? Is this crop formation a representation of a machine used to communicate through space?
Come on, that just blows me away. We sent a message not expecting to get anything for 50,000 years to the star cluster, and we got a message just a few years later. And what's more, they used the same format to respond to us, to show us who they were as we sent to them, showing them who we are. Come on. I had never heard of this before. I'm showing off my ignorance, but I'm ignorant no more. That is electrifying. Wow. What more do we have? We have boatloads more. That's just the beginning of what's going to be a hell of a night tonight on Crop Circles. Let's keep watching and I'll prove it. This is amazing what these guys are coming out with now. Let's keep going.
Again, frustrated researchers and skeptics agree on something. Why don't they just speak English? Well, almost exactly 1 year later, this formation appeared.
My brain just exploded.
Once again, we see a face, but that's not a human face. And just like the Arecibo message was broadcast in binary code, the disk formation also contains binary code. And for the first time, we get an actual literal message. The code was translated to letters using ASCII, the encoding standard for electronic communication.
Beware the bearers of false gifts and their broken promises. Much pain, but still time.
Believe.
There is good out there. We oppose deception. Conduit close.
What? Are you kidding me? We want the aliens to communicate with us in English. So they send out a crop circle that shows their face in our earth field. Then they give us a binary code message and we translate it and it talks to us like that? Wow, that is amazing. That is breathtaking. They want to say that people just make this stuff up. People got there with big sticks and a rope and tamp it all down. Yeah, right. You know those 2 old farts did not know binary code, right? You do know that. We also have further evidence, if I've got the clip in here, where they were hired by the CIA to muddy up the waters and debunk the crop circles because of what the crop circles were showing us and telling us in code and mathematics. And the proof is they only got paid half up front. Once they got done with their ridiculous imitations that didn't look anywhere near as aligned and perfect and mathematically precise as the real crop circles, they had to sue to get their second payment. So, I mean, wow. Let's keep going. This, you ready for more? Get ready to have your mind blown, boys and girls. This is incredible. Let me come up to here real quick.
Iron scattered all around. So, a few things. Did Doug Bauer and Dave Chorley create some crop circles? Yes. When Doug and Dave came forward, about 1,500 crop circles had been seen in at least 23 countries.
Oh, you can't pole vault to Belgium.
Right, even Doug couldn't do that. But they inspired a lot of copycats. Soon, most crop formations were man-made. So, is there a scientific way to tell if a crop circle is not a hoax, but genuine? There is. Most crop formations are man-made. The vast majority are. And there are telltale signs of this. Sometimes spotting a man-made crop circle is as simple as finding a footpath through the field leading up to the design. But often crop formations intersect the lines made by tractors called tram lines, which can hide tracks. To spot a hoax, we look at the plants themselves. Man-made crop circles done by flattening plants with boards are destructive to the plants. You'll see cracks and bruises on the stalks. On the ground, the crushed plants look messy. The leaves and flowers will be mashed to the ground. Marks will be visible on only one side of the plant where it was stomped by a plank of wood. Many of those marks are creases where you can actually bend the stalk. Genuine crop circles don't look like this at all. First, the lay of the pattern will flow like water. There's a gentleness to it, an elegance. And many times the stalks are layered and even braided. In genuine crop circles, most plants aren't damaged. They'll continue to grow horizontally and then after a few days, return to their vertical position. In this formation found in May 2005, the flowers weren't damaged at all. They were somehow laid down gently. A group of clumsy men with wooden boards couldn't do this. We know this because it was tried. A group of crop circle makers attempted to reproduce this formation. From the air, it looks pretty good. But on the ground, the man-made version is a mess. The plants are trashed. A formation in 2003 was especially puzzling. In parts of the design, the plants weren't completely flattened. They were bent a few inches from the top. It's been described as like the grooves of a record. How do you make this with planks and rope?
You don't.
You don't. Another sign of a genuine circle can be seen, especially in wheat. In late summer, when wheat turns gold, the kernels become heavy and bend over from the weight. They also become stiff and are impossible to straighten. But the wheat within a crop circle, the kernels have straightened out and can't be bent. So what would do this? Radiation.
And now we get to the heavy stuff. So many interesting themes to learn how to distinguish the true crop circle from the man-made. And these, so far as we're aware, have not been imitated. And there's been thousands of man-made crop circles, and they can't match the real ones. Not in precision, not in elegance, beauty, complexity, or all of these items. So there is a way to distinguish the real from the false, but watch this. This is a key to some of the shapes of the crop circles. I'm going to go ahead and let him go through this whole explanation, but the key is electromagnetic radiation. And some of the crop circles have a bar magnet diagram, and they're showing the magnet field. That's one of the crop circles. Others show other elements of the electromagnetic field. Watch this. Oh boy. Watch this. This is astonishing.
Wheat stalks are separated by structures called apical nodes. These are like the knuckles on your fingers. In the 1990s, biophysicist William Levengood started analyzing plants taken from crop circles. His team found the nodes in crop circle wheat were elongated, and in many cases, they were ruptured.
Oh, a rupture on an elongated node? I think they make a cream for that.
This rupture is called an expulsion cavity. The only way this could be replicated is with bursts of microwave radiation. The way your microwave oven works is it heats up water, fats, and sugar in food. Microwave energy is heating up the water in the wheat stalk nodes. The water turns to steam and then they burst, just like popcorn. Now you can't fake this. It happens to the plant internally.
There's no way you can hoax that.
People who claim to have witnessed crop circles being made, and there's quite a few witnesses, report seeing a mist over the pattern immediately after it's formed. This mist is actually steam coming from the plants that were flash heated by microwave radiation. While experimenting with radiation, Levengood found crop circle seed had a huge increase in growth compared to non-crop circle seed. By exposing seeds to short, controlled bursts of radiation, they grow bigger and faster than seeds not exposed to radiation. Another experiment showed that wheat harvested from within a crop circle has a much higher amount of protein than wheat outside the circle. So there's evidence that whatever energy is used to create crop formations is leaving residual traces of this energy in the area.
Exactly. And none of that residual energy is available in the crop circles that are made by humans. You can't fake that. Humans don't use electromagnetic radiant energy to make their crop circles. They use crude caveman type boards, imagining they're pulling the wool over our eyes, and they're not. But there's so much more to this than what he is saying. Let's keep watching this. Here's the thing. Not only are there numerous ways to tell what a crop circle, when a crop circle is real as opposed to a man-made, but it's how we are able to decipher the crop circles that is seriously convincing. That binary code is one of them. I've got a lot more of that in other clips coming up with several other podcasters who have shown some materials. I've even got some engineering application videos that I'm going to show you tonight of what the crop circles may be showing us, of what kind of machines we can make. Keep watching, man. This is staggering what we are discovering with this.
Some crop formations are covered in a dusting of microscopic spheres of magnetized iron, specifically meteorite iron. Researchers call this a magnetic glaze. These spheres are usually found around the perimeter of a formation, and they're distributed linearly, not randomly. Because the iron particles are magnetized perfect spheres, it means they were melted and formed within a highly energetic magnetic field. When people are inside crop formations, many are affected by electromagnetic radiation. Just look at this.
Ja, jeg har rød. Jeg er på det motsatt, men du ser det som det. Guri malla, det blir helt sånn. Og nå blir det borte. Nå blir det borte. Da blir det vanlig. Nå blir det vanlig. Ja, visst.
As part of an experiment, a woman with an enlarged thyroid sat in a crop formation for 2.5 hours. While being monitored by a doctor, her thyroid shrunk by 40%. Often cameras, watches, and other electronic devices stop working inside a crop circle. In fact, pregnant women and people with pacemakers are discouraged from going near one. Now, to skeptics, all this talk about energy sounds woo-woo, but I just showed you the real effects on plants and people. Now, it's fair to say that
that's not something you can fake. so far as I'm aware. I mean, not only does it affect the plants, but it affects people. There is something that's a residue that's there. That is astonishing to me. These are very interesting mysteries, but there's so many different scientific applications and interpretations of the crop circles. That is what really got my firm attention on these interesting phenomenon. Let's take a look at yet more that he's got. And he goes on and on and on. He had so many things that by the end of this video, I'll leave a link in the description so that you can go watch the whole thing. I'm only taking part of it. I promise. There is twice as much information in this entire hour-and-a-half video of his that I'm sharing with you tonight. It blows my mind. But yeah, him and then Casper site has yet more different applications. You just kind of go, oh my gosh, where and when does this ever end? That's the thing. It doesn't. The closer we look at crop circles, and there's thousands of them, the more we're able to take one crop circle, take another crop circle, put their two ideas together, then take another crop circle, put those ideas together, and then another one, and another one. And we can create machines from these diagrams. They are three-dimensional machines stamped on a two-dimensional plane in an art representation in the fields, and I'll show you that. Yeah, talk about applied engineering, man. The Tedesco brothers need to look into this as far as I'm concerned, and I'm going to alert them to some of this stuff if they don't watch this. So let's keep going. This is absolutely astonishing.
That the elongated nodes and growth rates of wheat could be a coincidence. It's also fair to say that the physical reactions experienced by people could be psychosomatic, all in their minds. But skeptics, how do you explain this? These are called ghost formations or ghost circles. This is when the design of a crop formation is still visible after the field has been plowed. Sometimes a ghost formation remains through the following season. Sometimes it remains for 2 years before finally fading. But this doesn't happen with all crop formations. Nobody knows why, but it could have something to do with where the patterns are found. A study was done in the early 2000s of all the crop circles in southern England found that year. The study showed that 98% of all non-man-made formations were over chalk aquifers. And by the way, chalk aquifers can be used for generating electricity. Everything keeps pointing back to electromagnetism.
That is so key. Now, who would have guessed that the majority of the crop circles are being put over chalk? That's incredible. If it was just people out there goofing off, they would be putting them willy-nilly wherever they are. Nobody's going to drive 500 miles to make a gigantic 600-foot wide, great big circular complex crop circle just for kicks and giggles. It costs money. It takes an enormous amount of time. And we've got more evidence that they don't do that. But this is how it brings in the electromagnetism. The very ground itself participates with the crop circle. There's parts of the ground that are useful. There's other parts of the ground that are not. The parts of the ground that is useful is where the vast majority of legitimate crop circles occur. And they occur regularly. Are you sitting down? Around Stonehenge and Avebury. And I'm going to show you that tonight. Yeah, that's not a coincidence. Let's keep going. This just keeps getting better and better and better. I love this stuff. This is just so astonishing to me.
If there's an epicenter for crop formations in southern England, it's Silbury Hill. Silbury Hill was built thousands of years ago. It's 129 feet tall and covers an area of about 5 acres. Nobody agrees on what it was originally used for, but every year crop formations appear near it, sometimes right next to it. And by the way, the whole thing is one giant pile of chalk. Not far from Silbury Hill is Stonehenge. Crop circles appear there too. One of the most famous of these is called the Stonehenge Surprise. On Sunday, July 7th, 1996, this formation appeared mere feet from Stonehenge. It's been called one of the most complex and spectacular crop circle designs ever seen. The design is a Julius set, a type of fractal. Fractals are visual representations of mathematic formulas that repeat themselves at different scales. Zoom way in or way out, the pattern is the same. Look at how close Stonehenge is to the formation. Look at the visibility. Stonehenge has 24-hour security. The guards saw nothing unusual the night before. Crop formations also appear near Avebury, which is in the same area. The Avebury henge is massive, twice the size of Stonehenge. Now, a ley line is believed to be an invisible path or energy line that connects sacred sites. Ley lines are thought to create a network of energy across the earth, influencing the flow of energy and aligning with cosmic forces. The area around Stonehenge is on one of those ley lines. If crop formations are an attempt at communication, they're clearly using mathematic concepts, and this would make sense. Math is a universal language.
I want to go back to this. Don't even pretend you're going to tell me that one person in just a couple of hours in an evening can make that. Look how absolutely gigantic that thing is. Look at the complexity and look at how many close to perfect circles in varying sizes you would have to make it, and you would have to make that proportion of the golden ratio exact. Don't tell me someone invented that. I'm going to laugh my ass off at you. That was not just made by somebody. Let's keep going. This is so astonishing what he shows next. I'll redo this last part.
The area around Stonehenge is on one of those ley lines. If crop formations are an attempt at communication, they're clearly using mathematic concepts, and this would make sense. Math is a universal language. But what do the messages mean? What story do they tell? Are crop formations proof of space travel? Do they offer an explanation for space travel? Are crop formations a map? Are they blueprints for a machine? Well, the answer to all those questions is yes. Over the years, crop formations got more and more complex. What started out as simple circles became patterns like this. This is the famous Milk Hill Galaxy spiral found in 2001. The spiral consists of 409 perfect circles, 1,000 feet across, spread over 700,000 square feet. And look at how clean the design is. That's not even flat ground. This formation is a hard one for skeptics to deal with. Remember, England is pretty far north. In the summer, the days are very, very long. The night the spiral was made, there was only about 4 hours of darkness. It would take a huge crew of people to lay down this pattern in 4 hours. And by the way, it was raining the night it appeared. You'd think the field would be full of muddy footprints by the army of hoaxers it would take to make this. But nope, the Milk Hill spiral is pristine. Fractals are a common theme with crop formations. Geometric shapes and other expressions of mathematic functions are also quite common. Even complex math problems are expressed. Squaring the circle is a problem in geometry first proposed in Greek mathematics. Squaring the circle involves using a compass and a ruler to create a square and circle with the same area. Now, this has been proven impossible, since calculating the area of a circle requires using pi. And if you remember your math lessons, pi is an irrational number, meaning it can never be exact. So you can never get the area of a circle to equal the area of a square. But there are methods that allow you to get close.
Now, all of this reminds me of Grant Cameron's chapter in a book that I bought down at contact in the desert, the wow factor, the pristine exactness of those dozens of circles in those mathematical structures that are utilizing electromagnetic energy in order to instruct us to use electromagnetic energy in an engineering project to make a machine. That's exquisite. I'm getting ahead of myself because it's blowing my mind what these crop circles are showing us. We are deciphering them. They are not just pretty art. Well, I mean, as an artist, I'm jealous as all get out. Those are gorgeous art on an absolutely immense scale. It's ridiculous how beautiful they're executed. But the science in them is just astonishing. And we are making the machines based on the diagrams of the crop circles. That's what is so mind-boggling. It's working. I promise I'll show you tonight. Let's keep going. It's just wow. Astonishing what we are being able to do. They're squaring the circle. The idea of squaring the circle in a crop circle. That's a philosophical idea, by the way. It's not meant to be taken literally. They are getting our attention. Someone knows about squaring of the circle. Let's keep watching.
And these methods have been seen in crop formations for years. Crop formations often use other mathematic concepts, like the golden ratio and Fibonacci numbers. Here's a formation that, when it appeared, people found.
This one completely blows me away. What would you think of that one if this is your first time looking at it? It looks just weird. Watch what this does. Talk about an answer from an intelligent species. Check this out. And I've got another clip of this by someone else that will express it in good detail as well.
Very confusing. Then a mathematician solved it. It's a representation of pi out to 10 decimal places. The lengths of the arcs represent each digit. There's even a decimal point and an indication that the number continues forever. But there are also designs that, at first glance, look like geometry, but not exactly right. That's when some researchers had the idea to stop looking and start listening. This particular circle resembles
pi, the golden ratio, the Fibonacci series, the most famous mathematics for humans, brought to our fields by UFOs. That's one theory. That's one theory. But now we switch gears and go to something else that is every bit as positively shocking. We look at sound. The crop circles don't make any sound. Oh, yes, they do. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. This is astonishing.
what's called a cymatic pattern. A cymatic pattern is a shape that forms when sound waves vibrate a material like water or sand. Ernst Chladni was a German physicist and musician who documented cymatic patterns. He proved that different sound frequencies create different patterns, and these patterns could be predicted and repeated. Could the builder of this crop circle be telling us that this sound frequency has special meaning? If it does, how do we apply it? Well, let's look for more clues. In 2011, this double spiral formation appeared on Windmill Hill, the location of another ancient site. The same day, another double spiral appeared near Stonehenge, just a few miles away. Dr. Jerry Croft thought these formations could represent neutron stars. And although it's very rare, sometimes neutron stars collide and form a magnetar. What makes magnetars unique is their incredibly strong magnetic fields, which are among the strongest known in the universe. These magnetic fields are thousands to billions of times stronger than those of neutron stars. A magnetar's gravity is so strong that it dramatically warps space-time around it. In theory, this warping of space-time could lead to an Einstein-Rosen bridge, better known as a wormhole. A wormhole, again in theory, can connect two very distant points in space, essentially creating a shortcut that allows you to travel to a location faster than light could get there in a straight line. Now, I'm aware this is a lot of in theory and possibly and maybe regarding these crop formations. After all, magnetars are so rare that in the entire galaxy, only 10 have ever been found. Well, 11. Because the following day, literally the day after these crop formations appeared, a new magnetar appeared. I don't mean it was always there and was just discovered. I mean it wasn't there yesterday and it's there today. Then in 2022, this crop formation appears. Two sections of concentric rings connected by a line. It's been theorized that this represents a wormhole. It shows 2 points in space surrounded by warped space-time and then a portal between. The outer ring represents the bending of space-time. Now, maybe this crop formation is just a design with no special meaning, but that would be rare. Almost all crop formations have a message or purpose. So,
are they testing us to be able to see if we are intelligent enough to catch on to the meaning of their symbols that are in the cosmos in order to prepare us for a future of new physics? I don't know, but this is mind-boggling. The symbol is just right. The timing of the crop circles, and then the very next day, the astronomers discover a gravitar. After 200 coincidences with the crop circles, you have to say, all right, hold on, let's take a closer look. Don't you? You can say coincidence for only so long before you really begin to look stupid, because it doesn't appear to be coincidence. It appears to be a preparation for a higher knowledge, not only of our cosmos, but for us electromagnetically to make that connection, if not in verity, make the actual travel trip into the cosmos. And you'll see what I mean. I'm not just stretching the truth here. Engineers are using the crop circles to bring about some astonishing machinery. It is just incredible. I hope you're enjoying this. This kind of stuff, this kind of stuff, come on, this is fantastically interesting. Even if you don't believe in it, just wow. So here we go. I think I am leaning toward them being authentic. I think he's presented enough here that I'm pretty comfortable saying, all right, let's keep looking into this.
Oh, let's assume, for fun, that all these messages are puzzle pieces, that when the pieces are fit together, they show proof of a wormhole and a map of how to get to it. But how? How do we do that? Well, that's the question that electrical engineer Nikola Romansky asked. Nikola saw this image of a crop circle that seemed to be meaningless. It didn't have a recognizable geometry. It wasn't symmetrical. But Nikola had an idea. He brought the shape into his 3D software and extruded it around the center axis, meaning he spun it around to make a shape. So Nikola found more crop formations and did the same thing. He rotated the designs around a central axis to create their shapes in 3D. And after a while, he had a collection of what appeared to be blueprints, instructions on how to create some kind of machine.
So what did he do?
Well, what do you think he did? He built it.
Come on! Come on! Are you kidding me? That is pure genius. That is astonishing. I don't care who you are. It's like the movie Contact, Carl Sagan. The way they built that machine, the way they deciphered the code. Well, the girl did, and then the guy stole the idea from her to get one up on her. But this type of detective work going on with the crop circles, man, I want to see what happens when we do that full creating a 3D effect with every single crop circle. Let's see what they're showing us. Are all of the crop circles mathematics, the types of mathematics that we need to utilize? That's why they showed us pi. Pi is going to be involved in creating this machine. Pi is going to be involved. The golden ratio is going to be involved. The Fibonacci numbers, etc. All right. They're showing us the mathematics necessary now that we understand perhaps to spin these things into a third dimension. Is this a machine piece by piece being given to us? Now, I'm not going to show you the second half of this video, but he has damn good evidence that it is a machine and that the CIA is working overtime to destroy in the public's mind the validity of crop circles. They have started a disinformation campaign that will blow your mind, involving even reporters of newspapers such as the New York Times, and your favorite television anchors and news people, and your favorite radio personalities, including Art Bell, which is very disturbing. So I'll let you watch that second half, because it just absolutely royally pisses me off about how effective they are at poo-pooing the crop circles so that we ignore them. Oh, that's been debunked. Bullshit. The crop circles have not been debunked. The CIA has put out a disinformation campaign, and in the process, they have continued studying the crop circles and building the machine from the diagrams. Pretty sobering. Let's keep watching this. This is amazing. He's not done yet.
Nicola Romanski reached out to filmmaker Charles Maxwell and asked for help. Maxwell was working on a documentary about crop circles. Nicola needed help and funding to build his machine. This machine, he thought, was a vehicle that ran on zero-point energy, could alter gravity, and reach light speed. How can you not build it? So they enlisted 3D designers and machinists. They hired electricians and fabricators. It took over 3 years, and they finally had their prototype.
No!
It didn't work.
Oh.
Well, they got some plasma to ignite, but they ran out of money.
Oh.
The entire process is in the documentary, which I linked below. The truth is, whatever they were building probably wasn't going to work. But it's possible that Nicola was onto something. That the secret to zero-point energy, gravity, and space-time all comes down to one thing: spin.
And I'm going to take this out of order of what I was normally going to do, because I forgot that this very, very important idea shows this spin based on crop circles. We think we've got a key to the anti-gravity of the UFOs. We're getting closer, and it's entirely based on crop circles. And I'm going to have to get a new, hold on, and I will get a new Here we go. This part. Okay, this is Ben from Casper site. Hopefully you can see him. All right, let's watch this and get ready to have your socks blown off, because this is the engineer's interpretation of the crop circles. And watch how Ben reacts. He's as blown away as I am with this. This is astonishing.
Okay, this is a video I want to show you. So basically, this next video I'm going to show you is from Red Collie, okay? Dr. Harris Drew, scientist and inventor. And she said, he says, what should we do when friendly aliens give us instructions for new physics related to UFO levitation? Personally, I chose to follow their leads. And what did I find? Something entirely new. Nobody has seen magnetic rotation, levitation, due to alternating NS or north-south, north-south, north-south wire coils giving three-phase power before today. All textbook would suggest that those wire coils have to be north, 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 north. New result thus breaks all known laws of physics. So a UFO can remain magnetically insert while flying with three-phase magnetic levitation. It will not stick to metal towers or anything like that. Check this video out.
I have something very exciting for everybody today, but first let's review what I showed you yesterday. Yesterday, I showed you a bunch of crop pictures, which we had 3 wire coils, 1, 2, 3. You can see 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 in 4 different crop pictures over the years in various countries. And inside of all of them, we see a magnet spinning like this. A rotor, a magnet spinning, or a rotor. And I showed you how that works in the lab. And let's look at one more of those videos now just to get started. Without any stops.
So those, just to clarify, those images were images of crop circles, okay? And I would assume legit crop circles, not man-made crop circles, okay? So look, watch this.
On the pole, that 80 millimeter magnet, when it's spinning, will just rise up in the air periodically over those 3-phase coils, magnet spinning, or a rotor. And I showed you how that works in the lab. And let's look at one more of those videos now just to get started. Without any stops on the pole, that 80 millimeter magnet, when it's spinning, will just rise up in the air periodically over those 3-phase coils. When it gets to a certain height, it loses the magnetic field and falls down again. We can see the same rising and falling motion for a 70 millimeter magnet over 3 wire coils without a stop. And if we want to get full power, we need to put a stop down here fairly low so we can catch the rising motion close to the coils. Now I'm going to show you something quite remarkable and not known before for physics on Earth. A lot of these crop pictures suggest we should use 6 wire coils, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, with a magnet inside.
I would imagine this is like south, north, south, north, south, north, right?
Which can spin and rise when we turn on the 3-phase power.
Or the other way.
And here are some of them. Here's one right here. Obviously, we have 6 wire coils and something spinning inside. Not hard to figure that one out. This one's a little more complicated. I was there in 2014. If you look closely, you can see 6 wire coils around the outside. In the very center, you can see something spinning and rising up, which is essentially.
After this, I'm going to look at the Savoy knot again, just to see if if we can pick out any sort of, well, the same thing he's doing here.
Actually, the same as this thing as well. Here's something very interesting. If we have 6 wire coils with 3-phase power, 3 with the north poles up red, 3 with the south poles up blue. In the middle, we have a 60 millimeter magnet with a 20 millimeter hole. When we turn on the power, it will still spin and it will still rise up. This might be very useful for UFO because you don't want the magnetism of UFO to attract objects nearby. And the north and south poles here would cancel, so the UFO would appear non-magnetic from a distance.
All right, no, we're not there yet. We're not there yet. But what an ingenious idea. The circles represent wire magnets, the central circle a magnet. What if that whole setup was rolls of wire that are 3 feet in diameter each, and the magnet is a 50-pound magnet doing that? Could that potentially lift a craft? We don't know. We don't know how this could fit into an engine or a motor, but the very fact that putting all that circular art together in an engineered process of electromagnetism, I can't help but think maybe we're in a correct direction here. I hope people keep experimenting with that. Man, I want to show that to the Tedesco brothers and see if they can engineer something. That would be rockin' hot. I might very well, in fact, there's no might about it. I'm going to contact the Tedescos and say, hey, I've got an engineering project for you. How could we put this together with anti-gravity or 0-point energy? Who knows what it is? Probably not 0-point energy. It's electromagnetic. But yeah, I've got some other pictures of crop circles that I will share with you here in just a little while that show the magnets, that show the magnetism. It's amazing how well this works. That even does that is just tremendously interesting, in my opinion. Now, here's some more of Ben Carlson that I think is just astonishing. With the various types of applications of crop circles, and he repeats some of the material that we've already seen, but from a completely different point of view. And I love how amazing this gets to be. It's just mind-boggling.
Because this next one, again, I hope you guys can see it. I hope YouTube just allows it, right? This is the one that absolutely blew my mind.
Advanced astronomical,
listen to this,
scientific, and mathematical equations contained within them.
One formation had everyone baffled, and people were saying, well, what is this? Then a mathematician had a look at it and said, wait a minute, that's a representation of pi, and it's correct down to 10 decimal places.
Mate, a crop circle with the representation of pi, right? Look how they've worked this out. This is incredible.
The representation of pi in a geometric sense. It's kind of interesting because the way you get pi out of it is the lengths of the different arcs in each segment. And what happens is there's these little notches in the spiral that let you know you're at the end of an arc. So you actually have to measure the arc lengths as you go around, and their lengths give you the digits of pi. And there's a little circle to give you the decimal point.
Mate, are you seriously going to tell me that Farmer John, right, him and his mate Boris, okay, are going to whip out into their own field and just create a perfectly formationed pi diagram or whatever like that? That is absolutely mind-boggling. And again, like I say, if I can't show that video, I'm just going to put some images up for you to see.
Well, they let him show it, so I'm hoping they'll let me show it. If not, I'll put up a diagram as well after the recording is done. So I'm hoping that they'll let me show that clip. And so it goes. So the way they're showing us the very necessary importance of pi. And something with spinning, with rotation, with circular electromagnetic energy gyrating. That's important, perhaps, for anti-gravity. And again, I know, I get it. This is all just speculation. But every time we speculate, we end up creating an invention that makes it. Just 120 years ago, people laughed at Henry Ford. No, you're never going to get the horse buggy to go by itself. You need an animal to pull it. And here we are. Hundreds of millions of automobiles. Some of them go at 300 miles an hour. So don't ever underestimate what we're able to do with the clues of these, what I'm going to call diagrams of crop circles. There's a lot more. Let's keep going. This is not over, not by a long shot, man. This is so interesting.
Because this just goes even further into the rabbit hole, mate. Like, this is crazy. The rabbit hole, whatever. It probably is it the rabbit hole, whatever. Fuck yeah. Right, hang on a second. Oh, I've just flicked over this screen. I didn't even see this, right? Started Googling. NASA puzzled by huge 8,000-year-old mystery structures in Kazakhstan that resemble ancient crop circles. 8,000 years ago, mate. Look at this thing. Look at this. NASA's released pictures of huge patterns drawn on the ground in Kazakhstan in an attempt to solve the mystery behind how they got there. The huge formations are known as the steppe geographis. I can't pronounce that word. Scientists have little idea of how they are formed, but think that solving the mystery could lead to huge change in how we understand early humans. There are around 260 of these designs, which are carved into the ground and made out of piles of earth, assembled into shapes include squares, rings, swastika shapes. The oldest of them are thought to be about 8,000 years old. Look at them, mate. But NASA is now joining the hunt to find out how exactly they got there. NASA has released a range of satellite images showing them photographed from the first time in an attempt to catalog and detail them. The land around the symbols was once a key destination from Stone Age tribes looking for places to hunt. But scientists would previously not have expected that such a population would have the time or the organization to build and dig huge symbols. That's mad, mate. Look at these, right? Look at them. That could be like maybe the blueprints for a pyramid to be made. I don't know. This one will blow your mind, mate.
I'm just saying, he's serious. It blows your mind. The next one he shows you, and the next one, and the next one, etc. This is fun stuff. But really, truly, we've lost this spirit of enthusiasm for discovery. We've lost this spirit of enthusiasm for exploring probabilities and possibilities. We see a diagram. That's what these crop circles are. Any of you who are engineers in my audience, or anybody who listens to this and watches this, take those figures and start putting together wire and magnets, etc., light bulbs, whatever, and see if we can produce what these diagrams could potentially be telling us. That could end up being fascinatingly useful. We just don't know. But it's time to get back to this spirit of playing, to get back to this spirit of, become like a child. Enjoy the Legos. Pretend these are diagrams of Legos, and let's get some Legos, maybe some metal cylinders that are magnetized, 3-foot tall cylinders that are magnetic in a circle of 6 with a central pillar, magnet cylinder or whatever, loop them all together with wire and turn on the electricity or whatever and see what happens. I mean, what's wrong with experimenting? Let's get back to our childhood wonder. I think that's what we've lost as a society. Maybe that's what these crop circles are, is to evoke this spirit of awe. But you look at these and you go, wow. Yes, that's the idea. But how about if we just take the diagrams and convert them into something physical? And then we could go, wow, look at this. Look at what this does, etc. The possibility could be endless. Just a thought. But we're nowhere near done. Let's keep going, man. This just gets better and better. It sincerely, it does.
And if you think it's still humans making this, this might just make you go, oh, hang on a second, right?
Crop formation that unmistakably looks like an extraterrestrial, the proverbial gray with the almond eyes and the triangular shaped head. And there's also at the bottom, there seems to be a computer disk and what looked like binary code. The mess.
So that is binary code. Like, what? You can imagine, right? A bloody hard drive. Yeah? Bloody hard drive. These hard drives. And inside there is a disk. And it's, oh, mate, it's crazy. It's crazy. But listen to the message. What they decrypted this. They decrypted it. Look, watch.
Message allegedly says, beware the bearers of false gifts and their broken promises. Much pain, but still time. There's good out there. We oppose deceivers. Conduit closing.
All right. Now, to be fair, I have seen people in the comment sections saying that that is not what the binary code translates out into. So what I'm going to do, or what someone else, if you have a better idea than what I'm about to tell you, I want to do with that, I think they put out the real binary code on his screen like that. I'm going to freeze the screen and I'm going to copy that binary code and I'm going to put it into Chat GPT-4 and I'm going to ask it to translate the binary code just for kicks and giggles to see if that's what comes out. I'm going to be real curious to actually, do any of you know binary code, and is that an accurate translation? That's the question. That would be fun to see. So maybe we're getting our leg pulled here by someone who really, really wants this particular crop circle to be relevant. But we've already seen that if we physically transform the circles into metal circles of wrapped wire or metal magnets, etc., that the effects are extremely interesting in the physical world. So I don't know, but that did look like an alien head in the shadow. The one half of his face was, it reminded me of that John Wayne picture, the famous John Wayne picture where he's standing there cocky, his hand on his hip holding his rifle, and half of his face is in the shadow. So I'm just real curious to see if anyone, thank you, Tim. I will check my email. Absolutely. Yes, Timern. It is very interesting, but I do want to, now, rather than just taking their word for it, I do want to check into that binary code. So there's going to be some more of my research. Maybe during this week, once I get that done, I will produce a video on that. But I mean, you know, people, enthusiasts, me too, sometimes we get carried away and we say things that aren't necessarily so. Now, if it just does happen to not turn out to have that message, if there's no message at all and it genuinely is just gobbledygook, does that mean all of the other crop circles are phony and fake? No, because we've actually seen physical application of some of those diagrams. So this will be interesting to test. You know, I'm not just gullibly swallowing everything as gospel, right? Okay, we're exploring. Okay, let's keep going. There is more. There really is more. I promise. And it's pretty interesting what he comes up with.
Oh, no, mate. Oh, no, no, no. Some woman in her own farm, right? In her field, she's gone out and she's literally recorded and shown what happens on these crop circles. You won't believe what happens to these crops, mate. Watch.
A new crop circle appeared in Wiltshire, and what did I do? I went to check it out. I'm no expert. It's really hard to tell if it's man-made or it's someone else.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was her. She checked out.
Work. I mean, I guess it's for you to decide. But there was one thing that really kind of like made me question things. If it was human-made, they would probably use something to flatten it with, and through that they would cause injury, and you could see.
Look at how that crop is interwoven. It's not mashed and crushed by a wood board. It's almost like it's interwoven. That's not something we can fake without taking a boatload of time.
See some places on the plant where it's actually broken. But here it's a little bit different.
It is really, really interesting because every single one of them that is standing straight is standing straight, right? But these ones, the ones that are laying, they are a little bent. You see? They're a little bent. And there's always like this kind of like
Look. So right on the knuckle, she shows you in a minute. These ones in the background, which the ones which aren't bent over, like folded over, these knuckles are all straight, but the ones on the floor and the knuckle are bent, mate.
joined, which is absent if we're talking about straight plans. See, I compare this one to this one, and it immediately bends.
Look at it!
Whereas here, you can't see.
Come on, you gotta love his enthusiasm. Look at it! Now, the cool thing is, Ben actually went to that new crop circle near his hometown in the UK in May. And he did the same test with that crop circle. And this is what he found as well. The ones that were still standing were perfectly straight. And the ones that had been laid down had the bend in the knuckle, just like a radiation effect would make it. So that was really cool to watch that one too. This is before he went to the crop circles.
Any of this happening among the straight ones. They're all straight and they don't have any bend.
She shows you on the ground now.
Every single one, look, that are on the ground laying. Bend.
Mate, I've seen this before, but it's just still blowing my mind. It's still blowing my mind.
And see? Like these bends, see here, everywhere. They're everywhere. Here, look at this. Bend. All of these bends exist only on the ones that are flat.
Now realize that they are not broken. They are bent. They're not crushed. They're bent. There's a difference.
Whereas those, they don't have it. See?
All of them are straight. Guys, all of them are straight. Bar the ones which are lying down. Mate, when I saw that, I got the chicken, right? I got the chicken. I just didn't know what the hell I was watching.
I don't know. Well.
And so the mystery continues.
All
I love it. All right, let's go to the next part too. I'm going to skip his awe and shock and awe. But, you know, we ought to become more like that, right? let's get a little bit more excited about the mysteries of the universe and on our Earth. I love this reaction of Ben. I had a lot of the same reaction. I can't express myself nearly as well as he can, but yeah, you know, let's put the awe back in awesome. Let's begin our childlike wonder and explore this stuff. Now, watch this.
Electronics often go wrong in crop circles. Some people...
Electronics go wrong in crop circles, in some of them. Probably the ones which are real and not man-made.
Yeah, how does that happen? Electronics go weird in crop circles. That's because of the radiation and the electromagnetic residue, maybe? Who knows? But something's going on.
Describe a strange tingling, headaches, or feeling rather ill. My name is Andy Thomas, and I'm a researcher of mysteries and the paranormal and crop circles. I began investigating crop...
Hey, look at that diagram right there. In light of what we've seen with those 3 and 6 circles of wire with the central magnet, what if we was to set up something like this? A central magnet with those four right here, and then 2 more around in a ring, and then great big ones next to some small ones. What if, and maybe this gyrates back and around, and this gyrates around and around. What if we was to engineer something physical with metal cylinders, metal rings, magnets, etc., and apply electricity to them? What would that diagram do? You see what I mean? We need to begin to want to explore and expand our possibilities. That could be utterly fascinating. Let's keep watching.
crop circles in 1991. Something really hit me, and it just touched me inside, and I thought,
there's a
I need to know
magnet.
more about this. 27.
That looks like a magnetic field interrupting itself somewhat. That looks like the lines of magnetism. We're going to keep watching.
Years on, I'm still going.
That one is one of my very favorites because the Fibonacci series, the golden ratio, done in circles like that. What if that is part of a machine engine encased or something like that? What if all of those were different sizes and weights of magnets and or cylinders of wire? Who knows what that could do, right?
The question of the origins of crop circles has never yet been nailed.
All right, don't tell me that doesn't look like a computer chip. Just don't even go there with me. Is that some kind of a computer chip design? That's amazing.
Many think, there's an intelligence behind them. I think they're made by aliens or extra dimensionals. I mean, it's a big universe.
Again, with the star, the 5-pointed star, you get the golden ratio over and over and over again. They're letting us know here with that beautiful geometry that the golden ratio is a key. There's golden ratios hundreds of times in this crop circle, you guys.
There must be other life out there, whether it's coming here, of course.
Now, what does this remind you of? Check this out. The central magnet looks like it's spinning. Are those 3 black circles on top of the 3 white circles? And are they all wire circles nestled together, layered with the magnet on top, helping that thing spin? Could this be an engine component? Now that we know what we're looking at, that they're trying to depict that central circle as spinning.
This is one of the great debates. It may well be that we are being visited by other intelligences, and maybe they feel like leaving some graffiti in the fields.
There's a
Maybe it's more than that. That they're trying to very gently make people aware of them in a way that doesn't create fear. It has.
Yeah, so that's a good theory, right? They want us to know that they're there. Like, how else would you sort of show that you mean no harm, right? Art, I suppose, is one perfect way. Yeah, there's no words which can be sort of like misinterpreted, right? But by art, you can show like peace, right?
I love that. I'm just not kidding. That is an exquisite point. So many people say, yeah, they're evil, they're devils, etc. But art is, especially this type of exquisite, graceful, in context art that's beautifully proportional to serious mathematics that have to be used in engineering projects, pi, the golden ratio, etc. That is an excellent point. Are they evil, or are they giving us diagrams to help us out? That's worth pondering. There is a website out there. I don't know where it is. I don't know which one it is, that basically has all of the crop circles. I'm going to try to find that. And if I can, I'll put it in the description. But yeah, I'm going to try to find that. All right, let's keep going, because this just keeps going and going and going. I love this stuff.
It has been argued the slow acclimatization process of little patterns built up a little bit more and a bit more every year is a way of getting us used.
What is that? Yeah, it's a gorgeous piece of art, but hold it. Wait. You have your central magnet. You have two very large cylinders that look like they're circling one way and one circling the other, perhaps opposite directions, like the yin and the yang. Is that what that's trying to depict? One going left, one going clockwise, one going counterclockwise around your central magnet. And what are these? Other circles around a perimeter, dozens of them that are perhaps magnets. Is this an advanced type of gear mechanism that helps the anti-gravity? We don't know, but what if we were to get curious and try to construct this? That might blow our minds what this actually does, right? Now you look at crop circles differently, don't you? I do.
To the idea of otherness, but there are
that's the Roswell, wasn't it? That looked like the Roswell rock thing that we saw earlier.
many other theories, some very strange, some religious, some you would never even imagine. I have had some very strange experiences myself around the circles. I was with a group of 2 other colleagues, and we were up on a hillside.
There you go. Again, it looks magnetic to me. The north and south side of a magnet.
Looking down over a field with crop circles in it. And we saw 3 of these.
Okay, now this, and I hope I've got the clip. I think I do. This has actually been converted into a magnetic motor. Someone mentioned, I think it was Caspersite. I hope I got that clip. I'll see. But someone actually made different discs of the magnets, and they put them in a metal casing that had all of these circles and lines around them, and that central magnet there, and then there's a casing with 3 magnets, etc. And they claim that it's a magnetic motor. So this is being done. Now the question is how can we put this together in a machine? We don't know just yet, or at least I don't. But that is a great project for an engineer to start putting all of these diagrams together. What if this is one level of a motor? The previous 5 or 6 crop circles are another level of the motor, and all of these can be stacked on top of themselves and start spinning and generate an anti-gravity thrust. What if the spinning motion distorts time and space in front of your spaceship and you end up flying like a tic-tac? You see what I mean? If we can get creative, and start creating stuff with these designs might shock us.
Small glowing balls of light. So I have seen it from.
Maybe he's the guy that recorded that video that we saw at the beginning. Because it was.
Yeah, this guy might be the guy that recorded that video showing those balls creating the crop circle, because he's saying he was taking video of it one night up on a hill, and that's what we saw in the video.
3 orbs, right? And that's the only one that I can find.
Myself, and I know it's there. We cannot say what.
Is the star and a metal encasement of magnetized ball bearings that go around and around in their respective rings around a central magnet. Now all of a sudden, and is it all encased in a huge circle like that, and the whole assembly, the star and all of these little circle magnets in the star, what if all of that spins around? Now that we have that idea in our head, these look a lot more like more than just gorgeous symmetrical art. And it would have to be symmetrical if it is an engine part. Otherwise, it wouldn't function properly.
What they were, but they would appear above the field and then suddenly just fly away. We also witnessed on another occasion.
Again, what is that? That is astonishingly fascinating looking.
The same week, strange, very dark shapes flying very, very quickly over.
This one, I'm not kidding, man. Think about this with me. If the magnets were all created in proportion, just like this shows, and that thing got to spinning at 200,000 RPM, what could that potentially do? What if every one of those circles in those spiral arms are rolls of wire, and only that central magnet is a magnet? What kind of power would that create? Is that some type of a torsion device? Is that an ability, having that many? There's 409 circles there. If all of those were working in coordination, maybe made out of a specific metal, and then they were partly magnets, the center one in the magnet, and who knows, maybe some in the arm, or maybe they're all magnets and you get spinning them. Could that distort time and space? Now, I know I'm speculating, I get it, but we saw that engineer with our own eyes take the artistic diagram and produce an electric looking motor thing that actually lifted up that magnet while it was spinning. We saw that. What would happen if you could create it with this? Just fun stuff to think about.
With the fields, and there was no reasonable explanation as to what they were that we could find. They were soundless.
There, that's interference. The two-slit experiment in quantum physics of a particle. There it is in a crop circle. That is the interference pattern of light from a particle to a wave. Look at that. Look how gigantic it is. What are they telling us? Somehow quantum physics could be involved. This is how we ought to start thinking about these circles. Yes, gorgeous pieces of art, but wait, there's more to it than that.
They were quite eerie.
No, they're not trying to scare us. I don't get why people always say it's going to scare us. It terrifies us and all that. Get rid of the stupid damn fear mongering. Let's investigate. Let's use our curiosity. Let's quit being scared of every little shadow and mouse that crosses our path, for crying out loud. Let's advance.
In the famous Mel Gibson film Signs, of course, the crop circles in that film
Oh, man, I need to watch that film again. It's been years since I saw that.
are announcing the arrival of rather evil aliens. But I don't
Look at this one.
personally feel that that's what's going on. There feels something very benevolent about crop circles.
Whoa, hold on. I want to go back. I want to go back to that one. Okay, look at that central piece. Is that a central magnet? And those two gigantic circles look like they're swishing around and around and around. That's what that movement looks like. They're rotating. Maybe this one, maybe the magnet itself is on top of this one, and these two are on top of that one, and everything is swirling in opposite directions, all encased in some kind of metal with electric circuitry. Look at how these look like circuit boards. But the center part could be a center magnet with other magnets or wires, spool of wires, spinning rapidly because of the electrical application. That's more than a piece of art. That could potentially be an engine part. Now, notice how many of these crop circles you can interpret that way now that we've actually seen the direct engineering application of that. That is what is amazing. What are they trying to tell us here? There's something going on, in my opinion.
Feel that that's what's going on. There feels something very benevolent about crop circles. I don't sense anything
Look
of
at
evil
that.
intent, and it would seem to me a strange thing to do.
Whoa, mate, is that an image of an alien?
Yeah.
It bloody is, man. Oh, look, if you go far away, you can see it. That's a grey.
Yeah, that's a gray. It sure is.
Wow.
Just kind of make these beautiful patterns if you wanted to scare anybody, and I don't feel that.
This is beautiful art, that is true. But this is designed, that flower is designed using lots of circles. And if you take the curve of the flower and continue it, you get a great big circle like that. You can see the central circle, and there are circles around the central circles, and those stars are circles around the circles, etc. What if all of those are magnets that are stacked on top of each other, one above, one below, another one below, etc., and they're all spinning? What kind of an effect could that have? You see, let's take it out of the flat art, magnificent though it is, and let's think of a physical apparatus, and all of a sudden these things take on a new level of interest like never before.
That is what's going on. It's going to be something rather stranger and more...
Look at that. There's all kinds of Fibonacci numbers, golden ratios there. All kinds. Are all of these little items between the legs of the star, are all of those pieces of magnets? Are all of those magnets? Who knows? I don't know.
Look how, I'm sorry, right? I've just seen a car just travel past here. Look how high like these things, I mean, they can get really high, but like the ones I've seen in the UK, maybe the corn comes to about here, like shoulder height, maybe a bit higher.
Now look at the size
Imagine
of
just
this.
going around with a lawnmower and just like, which bit? I got to go over there, right? Like perfectly symmetrical. Just right, 1, 2, 3 steps. Turn 90 degrees. Yeah, okay. No, mate. No, I'm not having it. I'm not having it.
I love that. I'm not having it. I'm not having it. Yeah, me either. Me either. I'm not having it either. No, there is something uniquely fascinating about crop circles once you change your perspective. Quit being so hypercritically stupid, silly, complaining that, oh, it's just a joke. What if these are diagrams? And how about we start trying to build these diagrams? What could we discover? Is this the basis of making a tic-tac that can go from 80,000 feet to 0 in under a second if it can warp time and space? You know, Salvatore Pais is working on that type of physics, man. I'm just saying that, or microwaves, power of one. Yeah, microwaves, the idea of microwaves. Why not? So this is all fascinating. Let's keep going because we're closing in on it, but there is more I want to share without question. There are some other things here that are just really fun.
Subtle, but certainly, yeah, I think that they're not evil. If they are evil, well, they're too beautiful, it seems to me.
There. Notice the concentric circles. And those rays are also formed that way from other circles that are all interconnected. Is that a warp drive, the inside of a warp drive of spinning engine parts? And that exact proportion is pretty important to carry out. You know, you think that way, and all of a sudden, every crop circle becomes fantastically interesting.
Crop circles tend to appear in any given country, as you would imagine, in the summer months. Although sometimes you do get them out of season in winter crops. Or
there. This is the other one I wanted to show
even
you.
occasionally, you know.
What is this depicting? These circles, the reason these little odd, they almost look like S's. They're trying to imitate rotation. Rotation. Every one of those are rotating all the way around this central circle, which apparently they're trying to say is spinning. It's rotating. They're trying to tell us in picture form it has something to do with revolving. That becomes crystal clear now. And it does make a nice piece of art. No, this is an engineer's project. Really, truly.
Laid into snow and ice. Is that the same thing?
There, look at that. Encased circles in some kind of a metal encasement with two central magnets. And I'm telling you, that is an engineering diagram. I'm just saying, I think that is a better way to look at this.
Not sure.
Oh, mate, that's a little
And I'm not even an engineer.
teaser. That's a little teaser of what I'm going to show you in a bit, all right?
Yeah.
Little teaser there for you.
This is
mate,
good.
Okay? Because, all right, no, I'm not going to spoil it. Hang on.
But the ones that appear...
Yeah, this is good. I'm going to keep showing this. He's not kidding. Watch this.
In the fields, of course, you're going to get when the fields are up. If you consider that it might be an intelligent force behind it, well, it's going to use the canvas, which is going to work best for it.
Look at that, man.
Look at that. Now, they call the, have you ever heard of the cube of Metatron or the flower of life or whatever? That is all kinds of circles embedded within circles, embedded within circles. What are they trying to tell us? Is, for instance, is an entire huge cylinder, say 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 feet tall, all interlaced, interconnected with circular magnets on top of each other, thousands of them in this cylinder, and all of them spinning like an egg beater, and just would that do anything? Is that another piece of an engine, of an alien engine that helps them get through space? Who knows? Very similar to the pine cone. Good argument. Yep. A real Radon coil, Tavin Milam. Yeah, you guys are getting this. I sincerely think these are diagrams of something. I am just almost certain of it.
Mate.
And I'm not even an engineer. But this now that we've seen that guy doing that spinning magnet, now all of this stuff becomes obvious. Our eyes are being opened now to what crop circles are. Is it any wonder that there's been a disinformation campaign against them to let us forget it? Right? Yeah, well, we're not going to.
Some crop circles have had direct information in them. There was one very famous one in 2002 that looks like...
What is that but an electronic circuit board in a circle? You tell me. Seriously. What is that? Copper wiring and electronic circuit around a central... You know, is this one layer of a machine, the one previous, another layer of a machine, the one previous, yet another layer, another part of the machine, etc.? That looks like electric circuitry to me. And I'm not an electrician, but I've seen enough of them to know what they look like.
Like the classic alien holding a disk of a binary code. Well, that can generate text on a computer. And the message was, beware the bearers of false gifts and their broken promises.
Is this a central magnet being circled by 4 magnets that are connected with other magnets out here? And are these magnet lines? Is this the power of the magnet that moves outward? And perhaps they're trying to show you the effect of anti-gravity. This has a thrust outward of energy. It's wavy. It's not particles. It's not a cylinder. It's wavy. Is that what they're trying to show us, the effects of an engine part that is in that structure? I don't know.
And then it went on to...
We saw that one, right, with the digital.
Warn about opposed deception and that the conduit was closing.
Oh, mate. Jellyfish. Jellyfish UFO? Mm-hmm. Jellyfish UFO, maybe?
So many people thought that was very portentous.
The Platonic solid idea, again encircled in a circle. But the cubes, the rotating cubes, what is that all about? All in a circle. What is all of this except wrapped copper wire in an electronic circuit board? I know I'm starting to sound repetitious, but that's how I'm seeing it right now.
I think you could meet aliens through various ways.
Look at the concentric circles. This almost looks like the inside of a Mazda engine, doesn't it? This circle is thicker down here and thinner up there, and so it rotates weirdly around the center, and then you've got the little triangle. I mean, that looks like a Mazda engine almost.
Actually, probably standing around in a field isn't necessarily the best way to see one. I think going to UFO spots where
some kind of a crystalline structure somehow.
People say they see them a lot. You're more likely to perhaps be taken up on board one of the ships.
Look at that. That's a direct Egyptian symbol of a beetle. Are they trying to say that once you put this together, you will fly? I don't know.
Whether that's an experience you want is another matter.
That is definitely the Kepra beetle of Egypt.
Some people have come back with all kinds of interesting...
Look at that. Is that a bee? Bees aren't supposed to be able to fly. That's some kind of an insect. Is that a bee with wings?
Tails.
Wow.
And with crop circles and UFOs, it is absolutely clear that they are not telling the truth. The intense debunking that we've seen of the crop circles over the years, and the flat refusal of the media.
Just stop and look at this. Is that some kind? You've got circles that are pretty much the same size as the central, and then these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 big ones. Is this a metal connector holding all of these 3 and then these 3 together? Is everything spinning? What if we could make this just like that with magnets and some kind of a aluminum or stainless steel or whatever? What would that do if that was part of if you could apply electricity to that and make these circles spin around these circles, and then these circles spin around this central circle, and then this circle? I mean, seriously, what is that other than a diagram? Some kind of a engineering diagram.
Here especially, to even acknowledge them much in the...
Nikola Tesla would love this kind of stuff, wouldn't he? I mean, seriously, we need more Nikola Teslas, although they silenced him and got rid of him.
Last few years, in a way, it says that there's something they're afraid of. And I think it's very clear that the authorities know more than they are letting on to us.
There we go. Is that another arrangement of important magnets all together in a square grid like that? Is that interesting or what?
Oh, hey, okay. This is what I'm saying. It's sort of like it was a big thing years ago. I remember as a kid, people were talking about it and that, and then all of a sudden, nobody's speaking about it ever again. You know?
Because they must keep tabs on any strange phenomena. It would be in their interest.
They do that.
This shows the circles as layered. The middle one is on top. You can see these 6 are underneath it, and these 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all of these are underneath that, and yet it looks like a cube. That's a cube. Is that a cube of spheres that are magnetized? And are these, this very outer circle, are these connected circles disk magnets, while inside this cube are spheres, metal spheres of some kind? Is that type of an arrangement conducive to anti-gravity? I mean, there's all kinds of speculation you can put on this, but is this just geometry for art's sake, or are we looking at a diagram of some kind for an incredible machine? That's my take.
Sorry to interrupt again, but there's 2 websites apparently that you can go and check out. Every crop circle that is made, or pretty much everyone, is actually now documented on this website. I can't remember the websites. I'll try and find them and put them in the description below.
We would almost hope they would, because they're meant to be protecting us, one hopes. We were doing experiments.
Again, circular rotation movement. There it is. It's telling you this goes this way. This goes this way. Opposite circular movements of something or other. Is that what they're telling us? Something with spin.
In the mid-1990s, trying to say, could the power of the mind...
Look at this. That's the lemniscate, the infinity. What is this central thing showing us? 3 small magnets, very finely machined into metal rings that hold them in place. Here's some other magnets around that are, these 4 are all connected somehow. And then maybe these are spinning around and around. I don't know why these are bigger, and on this side they're smaller. I'm not quite sure what that's trying to convey, other than these are further away. And if you're looking at it 3D, I don't know what that means, but that is interesting. It's also very beautiful.
Mind in any way have something to do with it. And we've done an experiment where we're drawn a crop circle. Sort of basically, fairly simple set of circular elements.
The Thunderbird. And notice the concentric circles. The theme of the Thunderbird is getting to the sun. It's the sunbird. The concentric circles. Something with circles. Movement. Spin. Get you to fly. I get it. I'm using metaphor and analogy. I understand. It's all speculation. That's true. But what is this symbol pointing to except flight? Some kind of flight, I would propose.
In a line, and we had performed some kind of meditation, if you want to call it that, up on a hillside. And that exact shape appeared as a crop circle that very night.
No way, mate. I'm calling BS on that. Really?
We didn't make it. We had nothing to do with it. And it was perfect. It was a beautiful formation.
Look at that. Circles within circles. Yeah, did you hear what this guy's... Sorry, I'm commenting on the engineering aspect of this, because that's the most fascinating thing. He says he thought up a figure in his mind, and then that night it was created in a crop circle in his yard.
Really, I think because of the connection we felt with that, whatever was going on, that's probably my favorite crop circle.
So you're saying that I could go in my back garden now, right? And just imagine the lawn being mowed, right? Mow the lawn, all flat, no shapes, just flat. Cut it. Tonight, it's going to happen. I'm going to test it out. I'm going to test it out.
Of all time. Skepticism is an issue. It's easy to have a very basic opinion, but you know as soon as you talk to them, they have never looked at the detail. People do say, oh.
What if we put a bunch of magnets together?
Out.
Of all time. Skepticism is an issue. It's
in that shape and with that proportion of size of magnets. Is this just showing you that the magnets are rotating? Is that what that's trying to tell us? And then there's this. Is this an atomic structure? Is that what they're trying to show us? Perhaps, I don't know. But wow, just wow. Now here's the road, or no, that's the sky from the bottom. Here's the lines going into the field. You can see that's not small. They want our attention. They're trying to teach us something. And it's not about how to make cool looking art.
It's easy to have a very basic opinion, but
is this our in to becoming part of the cosmic family just as soon as we put our brains together and start trying to create what they're showing us diagrams of? Or are we going to worry about did a man hocus, you know?
But you know as soon as you talk to them, they have never looked at the detail. People do say, oh, you're just a flat earther. And I go, no.
Now look at this. Is this a being who has energy coming out of him because of the disk magnets around him? Are these spinning or moving to where he has energy either coming into him or going out of him? I don't know. I'm speculating. But what is that trying to say?
No, I'm not. I don't believe that. But, you know, that's the way it goes. And
well, see, it's true, though, mate, because the thing is, I was skeptical. Going into this, I was pretty much skeptical. I was like, I think crop circles are pushing it. But, mate, after seeing all this and looking what he says at the detail, especially about those corns being bent like that around on the knuckle of it, it's like, what?
Yeah, I have to agree with him. I really do. I didn't come in skeptical. I just came in not really realizing the significance of the crop circles for an engineering point of view. Let's keep going.
When you look at crop circles or snowflakes.
Oh, this is so interesting.
That is purely a picture that represents the sound of the environment.
Yeah. Yes. Mate, this is crazy.
Now, when you take sound that has been recorded from the rings of Saturn and you take sound from the inside of crop circles, they are an exact pitch for pitch match.
What?
The rings of Saturn are being used as guitar strings, and they are transmitting within an hour and a half messages within sound. And Stonehenge, which is a crystalline aerial, which is aligned to Saturn in the planisphere.
Hey, I'm learning this now because I literally saw that he was talking about crop circles and sound, and I saved it. I haven't listened to it yet.
He's taking that and he's creating a picture that represents that sound, and that is why the majority of crop circles are around Stonehenge. Somebody said to me once, I created this crop circle, and I said to them, how did you encrypt diatonic ratios? And they couldn't answer me because they didn't do it. Yeah. Now, diatonic ratios are basically non-natural sound frequencies that are found in crop circles. When you take a sort of advanced audio equipment and you take away the sound from the crop circles and you mimic that on the machine, it's the same picture as a crop circle. So the picture...
Oh my God! What?
He's getting all freaked out, but that is fascinating. But here's my question. Also interesting. If we use cymatics, certain sound waves to create the shapes and then create magnets and engine parts from those shapes, would that help us get to the stars? You notice how the visual, the sound, geometry, mathematics, physics, it's using everything we've got as a species. That is what is so amazing. Let's keep going. This guy has some interesting stuff after Ben gets over his astonishment. I'll skip his astonishment.
Away into something else, mate. It's crazy, man.
Picture is sound.
So, right, okay, hang on, right. We're on to sound now, okay? We're on to sound.
You think I'm crazy?
Oh my God, yeah, look at this. New magnetic motor designed from...
There it is. Good. I'm glad it was Caspersite. There it is. There's that crop circle. And this guy made a magnetic motor out of that shape. Now look at that. You know what I want, though? I want to see that motor work. I mean, yeah, technically he might have put it together in metal and stuff, but how do I know personally that really works? I would like to see how he made that work. I will look into this and see if I can find anyone who knows of a YouTube video, or if they know an engineer that's done this or whatever. I am going to share this with the Tedesco brothers. In fact, I'm going to write that down. It's at 2753. 2753. And magnetic motor for the Tedescos. I'm going to see if they can make that. And if they can make that and display it. I would love to see that work, if that's what that is. So, I mean, yeah, the claim is being made. I agree. However, how real is it?
Crops. 8 years later, in 2008, an Italian inventor, Umberto Puado, began to use crop circles as blueprints to help design new magnetic motors. What?
All right, there's the man's name, and there's the year. Let's look into this. I want to see those motors work. I want to see how he applies them. What type of motors? What do they do? Do they help run cars? How do they work? What do they do? Run fans so that you can have cool air in the summer? What are they? That's cool. We've got the info right there. Good research project.
Is that a load of bull?
Yeah, see, he's thinking the same way here. He's going, all right, wait a minute. I've got to see this work. Yeah, I'm with Ben here. I've got to see it work. It's one thing to claim something. It's another thing to show it. Now, if that really does work out to be a basis of a magnetic motor, hot dang, that's going to be fabulous. But I've got to see it.
That's got to be a load of bull, isn't it? This is like that thing where on The Simpsons where Homer just does that formula for like how a blackboard.
Yeah.
What? Man. Okay, hang on. It wasn't that one though. So yeah. This is somebody talking.
We're getting close to the end. Hang in with me.
About Mother Earth and like basically this.
Oh, yeah, this was cool, too. Again, another different type of application with the crop circles. They're not just one thing. They're not just art, I don't believe.
Sound that Mother Earth is vibrating out, is actually creating these images. Look.
What do you feel about the crop circles?
It's funny that you instinctively just said that, because that's kind of what I've realized they are. They're cymatics of the Earth speaking to us. And what's interesting is there's videos where these little orbs come about, and then this design being drawn. And that those orbs, I've learned, are the compression of certain materials stacked on top of each other, which then create the orbs. That's where, like, all those people, when they're like, oh, there's all these ghosts.
There. Did you catch that? Very important. They are stacked on top of each other. The sound vibrations, and it creates the orbs. The crop circle shapes, in so many instances, are from cymatics. Is that the key? I didn't get that in preparing this, but wait, he might have. I've been saying that throughout this video. What if you take that diagram and place it on top of that one, and place it on top of that one, and this one's spinning this way, and then this whole other set of interlaced magnets and electric wires are spinning the other way, etc. What if it all gets put up together with electromagnetic power, and it's the basis of creating an orb? That gives us enough energy to turn us into beings of light. Now, there's a speculation for you. Holy cow. Is this designed to take us out of our gross physical body into the light? Go to the light. I get it. I'm speculating, but dang. I'm going to back this up just a little bit.
They are. They're cymatics of the earth speaking to us. And what's interesting is there's videos where these little orbs come about, and then this design being drawn. And that those orbs, I've learned, are the compression of certain materials stacked on top of each other, which then create the orbs. That's where, like, all those people, when they're like, oh, there's all these ghosts over there. Well, there's actually compressions of certain types of materials which stack together, create a chemical reaction, and then you have this orb. But I believe with the crop circles that it's Mother Earth speaking to us. And when I started to look at all of them, I started to see designs.
That's the Avengers, mate. That ain't Mother Earth.
I started to see, like, inventions. I started to see actually a lot of things.
There. Magnets. It's in a circle, though. Circular magnets, perhaps. Magnetism. Yeah, he's saying it's the Earth doing this. No, I don't think so. Not with that video of those orbs doing it. I mean, that's kind of nice. He wants the Gaia effect, but I'm not going to lie to you. My bias is for some kind of an engineering project. These are diagrams. These are blueprints.
Atmospheric energy. You know, I started to see alignments.
Boy, there's a Masonic symbol, isn't it? The pyramid and the compass.
Like things like the...
But the actual physical structure, dang, I wonder if that's putting together and doing something with an engine part.
Eclipse, and how, like, significant the eclipse is. And, like, even here, we had 2 eclipses, you know, in 2 weeks.
See, 2 eclipses, one circle over the other.
And if you
pretend they're magnets, you stack one disc upon another in a ring of 6 or 8 or however many, and get them spinning in conjunction with each other. If you was to make an overlapping ring of 6 magnets like that, 10 feet tall in the middle, wrapped around a magnetic cylinder that high, and got that stuff spinning at 100,000 RPM, what would it do? You see.
Stared into it, your energy goes through the roof.
Wow.
You know, so all these things that Mother Earth is trying to communicate with us. And like you said, we used to be tapped into this. We used to be able to see these frequencies, or at least tap into that. And we've disconnected and lost that. But the crop circles thing's just as wild, because they even said too that people meditate in them, their energy will go very high, or they'll notice all these plants, that same thing. The plant growth is like wild. And they noticed, what's the other thing? They noticed like all these different types of rare plants popping up in that same spot.
So he was basically saying the same sort of thing, right? Sound resonates from the earth and creating.
Let's move on to 32. I don't think it's the earth talking to us. I get his idea, but I don't buy that.
You will not see churches in the same way after seeing this
Oh,
one, I'm telling you.
Oh yeah, this last part. This is the last part, and then I'll close with this. Oh no, I won't. I've got one more I want to. Well, no, yeah, I can close with this. Yeah, this last part is really interesting, and I get it. I get it. Look, hold on. I'm gonna look at you. Okay, I get it. We're all sick of organized religion. A lot of us have had bad experience with church. All right, I'm with you. But watch this. See, sacred geometry is about proportion and ratio of, for more or less, of all of the Platonic solids, the 5 Platonic solids, and simple basic geometric shapes: triangles, squares, circles, right? Rectangles. Okay. Putting those together, not as an art piece, but as something physical, changes the dynamic. And I'll close on that. This is astonishing, in my opinion. This is really cool.
Here's a secret that's been kept by cathedrals for a long time. This right here is your DNA. This at the top is your DNA from a top-down view. These geometric shapes that you see is what we call sacred geometry. Sacred geometry is an ancient study that explains energy patterns, like this turtle right here. If you look to the right, what you see here is a sand plate that's connected to some type of instrument that can send out frequency. Now let's just say the instrument is a piano, and when I hit one of the notes on the piano, it shifts the sand into these specific geometric shapes. This is called cymatics, the study of visible sound. You can also do this with liquids.
Yeah.
Now here's a picture of cymatics in water, top-down view of DNA, and church windows. Notice they are almost identical. Now, how many times have you drove past a church window like this and wondered how the fuck did they come up with that design? They didn't. It's in your DNA. Now, here's something very interesting. Everything has a resonant frequency, which basically means everything has its own frequency. Now, a lady did an experiment where she set up a...
Okay, now don't mock this, because that is exactly what Nikola Tesla said. He said it's sound, frequency, and vibration. So this guy is not speaking religious mumbo jumbo and woo-woo. He's talking basic physics. Everything moves, which means it's all vibration. How do we put the vibration together to get into a higher sphere? Let's keep listening.
Listen to this, mate. This is crazy. The lady did an experiment where she set up a
mic in the church like this and recorded the silence. She then set up speakers to play that silence so that it would go back into the mic and keep creating a louder and louder and louder sound.
Feedback.
To the point to where it was strong enough to show up cymatically. Now, when she played that sound through water, it created these shapes cymatically. And to her surprise, the same shape the sound of the church was making was what the shapes of the windows inside the church looked like.
Mate, that's mad. That is absolutely mad. If that's true, that is mad.
There's only one group of people I know who can build at that level. But anyway, I remember buildings have their own resonant frequency.
Yeah, the Masons. The Masons were the ones that built those medieval chapels. Notice the shapes. All sacred geometry, all diagrammed, yet physically made into a building that changes your DNA over time. Is that what these crop circles are telling us about making a machine to change our physical nature to be able to travel through space, or even fold space, or even become orbs of light and beings of light ourselves? I get it, I'm speculating, but this is actually the serious basis of a science.
Which means that when you're in the building, your body is being interacted with those frequencies. So if your body is made of 60 to 80% water, and this is what water looks like when it's vibrating, that means whatever shape is made by the sound of the church is the shape that your DNA is taking form of. I believe these cathedrals are designed to create healing frequencies to make you feel good when you're inside of the church. This could be part of the reason why people feel good when they enter a church, not realizing the church is emitting its own healing frequency in alignment with the instruments that are being played by uplifting music scales. Here's a secret that's been...
I hope that you came into this video.
Yeah, I did. I came into this video. All right, no, I am going to do this one more. No, we're doing a deep dive. We're doing a deep dive. I do have one more thing I am going to share with you, because this is critically interesting and very important for the overall meaning of a crop circle. Let me see if I've got this right. Close enough. All right, let's take a look.
Some sort of reading. But there's been lots of, what I noticed yesterday, there's been lots of videos online talking about the particular shape. The shape of this.
That's the crop circle shape that he's going to see in this video. It was near his home in the UK. That particular shape has a very interesting meaning if this was made by aliens. This is the crop circle he went to, and in the outer circle, he looked at the stalks of wheat. The ones that were tamped down had that bent knuckle. The other ones were straight as an arrow.
This crop circle, I should say the pattern inside.
All right, I'm going to pause this and read this out loud. This is the meaning of that symbol, which is remarkable. The Savoy knot, an ancient signature of sacred power. The Savoy knot is a heraldic symbol that has been used for centuries, made up of two interwoven curves forming a closed figure, elegant in its simplicity. Historically, it is associated with the motto, "It binds but does not strangle." Now, this phrase speaks of a power that binds through love. It unites without annihilating. It protects rather than dominates. From an esoteric perspective, the knot represents the coherence of the eternal soul, the indissolubility of the pact between king and queen, between royals and people, the circularity of time, and the wisdom embedded in royal blood. Oh, and then the stupid thing is, it is not merely a dynastic emblem, it is an initiatory seal, a bearer of knowledge that transcends politics and gestures toward mystery. Now, that is a beautiful meaning of a very beautiful hieroglyph that was made in a field, and it's 75 feet big. It's huge. It's gigantic, as he discovered when he got there. And this is him in the field.
We're getting closer to it.
He's walking in the field, and he gets over here and he talks to certain people and all that jazz. He had a ball. I envy him. I'd love to make that kind of a field trip someday. Anyway, okay, yeah. Now with that, that's a good note to close on, as far as I'm concerned. I've kept you long enough, but I just wanted to give you a variety. I wanted to give you some, to realize that we can be dealing with art. Absolutely. Now you know a new level of sacred geometry, because maybe it's a diagram of something we physically can produce that is very useful here on Earth, either with healing energy or with literal physical energy to be able to move about faster, etc. Maybe it'll help our brains think better. Who knows? We don't know. We're speculating, but we've got art. We've got healing energy. We've got a potential diagram for an engineer to produce a maybe not just one machine, but dozens of different kinds of machines that can all have beneficial effects for our human body, our species, humanity. That would be rockin' cool, right? So this is the joy of study. This is the thrill of victory. It is fun to assess something again. Yes, it's been looked at 100 times. I get it. There's thousands of crop circle books. There's nothing new to learn. Yeah? I learned all kinds of new stuff doing the research for this video, for this live session. And I'm willing to bet some of you guys actually learned something interesting tonight too. That's the fun. We need to get this curiosity of ours built up. We need to be willing to stop and explore something that looks interesting instead of worrying about saying, well, was it made by aliens or humans or whatever? That's not nearly as interesting as if we can take these diagrams and create something useful physical with. Man, that would rock. So that's basically what I have to share with you tonight. Appreciate all your attending. I hope you guys had fun. I did. I haven't seen you all night long. So if anybody donated any amount of money, which I hope every single one of you did, because I'm a greedy son of a gun, I always scream for money, then thank you very kindly. I haven't seen if you have or not. It's not a big deal. Either do or don't. That's what Yoda says. I appreciate all your moral support. I appreciate your psychological support. I appreciate your friendship. I do appreciate your financial help and support. Truly, it takes a lot of effort to put these things together. But you know what I appreciate the most is I appreciate being able to learn something that is interesting, that can be very exciting, that can potentially be very applicable, and then turn around and share it with you guys. So feel free to hit the like and subscribe button and the notification button. Share the video with everybody. I will, I think, be doing more on crop circles. I have some various different angles, perhaps types of research I can do on crop circles, but I am going to call it a night. And I wish you guys the very best. I hope you have a fabulous evening. I love and appreciate all of you, but I'm heading out. I am leaving for the night. I've got to go get dinner. You guys have a great week. Keep your eye peeled on the channel. I'm going to kick out a lot of videos, I'm hoping. So I will catch up to you just as soon as I can.